I started in this business mixing on Allen Heath. There's so many clubs that used to have GL 2200s, so that was my first experience with Allen Heath, and I loved the way they sounded. They had wonderful EQs. When I finally did get to demo the iLive system, I was really impressed with what it did. And when I had an opportunity to put it into this band, it fit my needs perfectly, mostly because of the modular and scalable nature of it. And as I've always said, the biggest thing for me was that I was looking for a console that I could fly with, and I can pack up my IDR in a Pelican case and take it anywhere in the world. I've had it in 26 countries or so, and so I never have to have a day without my desk, which is a wonderful thing for a monitor engineer. So here in the UK, we have a bit of a smaller tour. We're in smaller transportation, so we're carrying a T112 for front of house and a T80 for monitors. It's just a little easier to carry around. In the US, for our major headlining tours, we would have a 144 Surface at front of house and then a T112 at monitors. And we'd normally have two IDR 48s, where here we're just using a 16 and one 48, just for size. My guys are actually pretty mellow as far as musicians go for mixing, but we have been on these systems for over 3 years, and so we've got it pretty dialed. It did take some time to get them comfortable in in-ears. This is the first time, when we switched to iLive, was the first time that they had been on in-ears. They were a wedge band before, and they were used to club rigs and club engineers. So coming in with this system was the first time that they had a consistent system every day where they had the same engineer and the same consoles. It took some time to get them used to being on in-ears, but now you can't get them off of them. So, and they're very happy with the sound. And the real testament to the console is whenever we use another console, they're never happy with the sound. It's just not right to them. You know, it just doesn't sound the same. It doesn't sound warm. You know, when we go to when we do TV shows and we have to use another system, I spend all morning trying to get it right, and it sounds good, but it's just not the same to them, and they're just never quite comfortable with it. We don't use a lot of effects. We have a couple reverbs on monitors, but it's not a real, you know, they're pretty basic, you know, rock and roll band when you get down to it, even though they play pop music. You know, it's just a lot of guitars and drums and keyboards and bass and vocals, and so we have a little bit of reverb, but they really just want to hear what their band sounds like. So nothing too fancy. But yeah, after 300 shows on this console, it's pretty much a no-brainer anymore. So just turn it on and off we go.
I've been using iLive for about 4 years, ever since day one with Neon Trees that I've been working with them. March of 2011, I believe, is when I started working with Neon Trees, and when I came into it, we were already using the system. I've always been familiar with analog consoles, and it was very easy for me to jump right into this digital format that Allen Heath iLive puts out. Being from an analog background, being able to jump on a console, a digital console, and actually having physical knobs to use and turn, so I'm not constantly head in the screen. Like that's one of the things that frustrates me most when I go to a show and I see an engineer constantly looking at a screen. It's like, look at the band, listen, use your ears, don't use your eyes to mix. Your ears are the best tool you can have, and with the Allen Heath, it's so easy to be able to watch what you're mixing and listen and not have your head in a screen. And the sound of the desk alone, like, it's one of the truer analog sounds I've heard out of a digital console. It's hard. It's really hard to get that true analog sound, and I think Allen Heath does a wonderful job at recreating it. And the effects that they have within it, I really enjoy. The hyperbass, the subharmonic synth I use on the toms, it creates that oomph. I love my toms to sound like cannons, and if you listen to the Neon Trees records, the toms usually do sound like cannons. It's that 80s pop, you know, sound that they go for, and I love trying to recreate that live. And with this desk, there's so many different features and options with the reverbs, the multi-band compression, the dynamic EQ. It makes recreating the live setting more true to the album.